You are listening to the Choose Your Struggle podcast, a member of the Shameless Podcast Network. Enjoying the podcast? Consider supporting it on Patreon. You'll get behind-the-scenes looks, sneak peeks, extra bonus content, and best of all, a way to interact with me, your host. You'll also get discounts on merch like tank tops and magnets, and all the other services I provide, like booking me to speak, coach or consult, or even advertise here on the podcast. Check it out in the show notes or in patreon.com/chooseyourstruggle. Plans start at as little as $3.40 a month, and all the money goes right into the podcast. All right, let's get back to the show.
Choose your struggle. Choose your struggle. Spread love. Choose your struggle.
Hello and welcome to a Monday Motivation episode of the Choose Your Struggle podcast. This is being recorded on Thursday, the 28th. Rock bottom was last night. Thank you. I was trying to find words this morning because I had expectations, and they weren't that high, and this blew them all away by leaps and bounds. The final count was over 200 people tuned in at some point to the live event, which is unreal. It's still up. You can find it on Facebook and the Choose Your Struggle Facebook page, on YouTube, my J. Shifman YouTube page, and on Twitter, both Choose Your Struggle and my personal. It's going to be up. The link is in the show notes as always. There's going to be more of these. This is, going to be a series. The next one won't be for a couple months, but there's going to be more of these. And as I mentioned in that event, I'm adding a third event. It's going to be one-on-one storytelling. It's still very new. It's probably not going to debut for another couple weeks, but those will be lives as well. And I'm just very excited. I'm very appreciative of all of you who are being so supportive in all the different ways, including this podcast, which is still, of course, the number one. So it is Monday, which means that we're talking about something a little different than the podcast itself. And today I'm going to respond to a request from somebody from a couple episodes back who said they really enjoyed the honesty around conversations that don't normally happen in this sort of setting. They were specifically talking about the conspiracy theory conversation I had with Rebecca. That proves to be a very popular conversation. And I wanted to take that opportunity to talk about something connected to that, not conspiracies, but connected to the conversation with Rebecca. And that is the paranormal. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm interested in this stuff, that I have experiences myself. I believe, as I said on that show, it is selfish for us to think we're the only people in this galaxy, the only intelligent beings, I should say, is a better way to say that. I also think that just because we can't explain something doesn't mean it's not real. I have experiences with, I don't know if they're ghosts, I don't know, I call them whatever you want, with entities that were not permanent, I guess is a good way to say it. And I've told those in some other podcasts on some, just conversations. I'm very open about that. I truly believe, again, I don't know if it's ghosts. I don't know. But that's the point, is I'm okay not knowing. I know what I saw. I know what I experienced. I know what I heard, that kind of thing. And I can't explain it, and I'm okay with that. So today I want to encourage two things. Number one, reach out and tell me your experiences. I love this stuff. I love talking about it. I want to hear what you saw, what you heard, whatever the case is, and what you think about it, how it made you feel. I was just reading a report this morning. This was in the New York Times, actually, about a guy whose grandparents, he remembers this story from growing up, that his grandparents saw an alien, went over their car, and they were so afraid they didn't drive for a year. And I've never felt that way about the paranormal. I've never been scared. Is it unsettling at times? Of course it is. But I've never been terrified by the paranormal. So if that is something that you do feel, I want to hear from you. I want to understand what was scary about it. And so to kind of set this ball rolling, I'm going to tell two quick stories. Number one is my experience with what I think is a UFO. And number two is one of my many paranormal experiences with an energy I can't understand. So the UFO story, this is such a 90s story, right? It happened probably around 96 or 97. I I know it was at least after 92 because we were living in a house we didn't move into until 92 or 93. I was rollerblading, again, 90s story, 90s kid here, and I remember distinctly it was dark. So, and I lived in a cul-de-sac, a very safe neighborhood. Again, that's that privilege talking. So this was not unheard of for me to be outside rollerblading at 7, 8 or at night or something like that after dinner. And I remember I had just come up onto my driveway from rollerblading around the cul-de-sac. And I happened to look up in the sky and I saw two, what I thought at first were airplanes heading towards each other, but really high up. And so immediately something said to me, well, that's weird. That's different. So I stopped and I just stood there watching. And the two, whatever they were, came towards each other and then stopped and just sat there. It could have been 30 seconds. It could have been 10 minutes. I have no idea. I just stood there, mouth open, staring as something in space, sat there next to each other. And then they started moving again. Now, in my mind, the things turned around and went back the other direction. And it could have been that they crossed. I mean, it was so far away, they were just lights. But I knew they weren't planes. They were too far away, and they stopped. I knew that they weren't satellites or something because they stood for too long. Like I said, they were moving very quickly. If they had passed each other, and that's what I saw, that would have been a couple of seconds. This was at least, 10 times that. I don't know. I have no idea how long this was. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I also had no idea what I was seeing. And I'm okay with that. This was 20 years ago, more than that. And I still to this day have no idea what I saw, and I'm okay with that. So that's my UFO story. Now, paranormal, I've had a lot of different stuff. In college, I lived in a house, at my fraternity, that was very clearly haunted. There had been some kind of fire years before. I'm not saying that's what this was. I'm just saying it's not surprising to me that I and other people saw and experienced things that we could not explain. The one that really sticks out the most to me was the first experience. And I'd had, things before, but this was the first time where I went, oh, shit. I was walking through a hallway where the stairs intersected. And there were stairs coming up from the basement. And very clearly, I can still see this. I saw a woman wearing a white dress with black hair. And I just caught her from the side of my eye. And at the time, one of my fraternity brothers was dating a woman who looked kind of like this person. So immediately my brain went, oh, that's who it is. And I said, hi, this person's name. And no one responded. And I was the only person walking through the hallway. And I turned and there was nobody there. Then I stopped and I recognized, okay, in my brief understanding of this moment that I thought that it was this person, that the woman I saw didn't have feet. And the woman I saw didn't have a face. It was just a being with black hair in a white dress that I thought to be this woman. So is it possible that I was seeing things? Of course it's possible. But I went beyond just thinking I saw something. I literally talked to this thing and then turned around to see that nobody was there. Again, that was the first of many. I have no idea what that was. I have no idea. Was it something happening in my brain? Could have been. I have no idea, and I'm okay with that. But I also take that to mean there's stuff that I can't explain. And I'm okay not being able to explain it. Because there's something comforting in knowing that there's more out there. I don't know, I'm not one of those people that's very religious, so I don't have definite ideas about some kind of afterlife. But this idea that there's a lot more than our own understanding is very cool to me. And that's one of the things that I love about the paranormal. We like things to be buttoned up and explained exactly how we like it. And that's never the case. Things are never as they seem. Even if something is 80% as we think it is, well, we consider that good enough, but that's a lot of wiggle room. And there's a lot in life that we just don't understand. And I like that, and I'm comforted by that. But I want to hear from you. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you've had experiences. I love this stuff. I love hearing people's stories. I read the MUFON newsletters. That's the UFO network. Just because I love the stories. I think the stories are fascinating, and I love seeing the numbers. It's very cool to me. Again, not saying that I believe all of them, not saying that I know that these are ghosts and aliens. I don't know. I have no idea. But I do know that there's stuff we don't understand, and I'm okay with that. All right, enjoy your week. Thank you for tuning into Rock Bottom. Those of you who did, this week's episode of the podcast is going to be awesome, so keep your ears out for that, and I'll talk to you soon. Choose your struggle. Ready to take the next step in your mental health journey but not sure where to start? Feeling pretty good but interested in getting more in touch with the true you? Struggling with substance misuse and not sure where to turn? Reach out. The first session is always free, and hey, sometimes we all just need someone to talk to. Find me at jshifman.com today.